We're fresh off the heels of season 10, episode 2 of American Horror Story, and there's so much racing through my head right now. Some of the predictions were surprisingly on point, and I think I even have a few new theories to add to this crockpot. Oh, yeah, by the way, I'm the Snark, and
I am Show Squirrell.
And I guess let's just get right into it.
All right, let's do it. So we open inside of the inn. Now, I want to point out that Harry looks a little yellow and a little pale in the first scene. Now, what's going on in the background is the violin is playing, and this time Henry is tapping away on the computer. The violin does not faze him at this point.
You know what? Actually, before we go into this, I do want to stress our lay out that the scene does open with them in the car. So
that's right.
I was a little confused, as to what the writers were doing, because at the end of the scene, it seemed like they were going to stay after he got that, that tongue lashing from his publicist. Mm-hmm. It seemed like they were going to stay. So yeah, I was surprised that, in this opening scene, they were back in the car.
Right.
So, they were prepared to leave.
Exactly. And then they were prepared to leave, and then all of a sudden, Harry gets these flashes of the computer
inspiration,
screen,
literal
keys on the computer.
Yeah.
And
so,
he's
the
just
story,
I have to write.
The
I have
story
to write
is
right now.
literally being revealed in his head. And, I've had that experience before,
Yeah.
Not with that kind of drug, but, I've had that experience before. That shot of inspiration that hits so quick and is so vivid. I've had that experience.
So he goes in and he starts typing away, and he pretty much finishes the script in 4 hours. He's writing steady.
Yeah, he blows through that script in no time.
So Alma and Doris are talking, and Alma mentions to her mom that she saw Daddy take a pill. She saw him take a pill, and she thinks it might be Adderall. Now, how this kid got to know it, I'm not sure.
What makes her think, though? What makes her, go off on this tangent to question him?
She says,
or bring this up.
She says that people, use Adderall to focus.
Well, I felt like maybe she was frustrated with her playing, because I think you did mention a violin solo.
Well, yeah, but
she was doing.
I don't think Alma was not mad at this point.
No, she wasn't playing that great.
Well, but
so
at this point she kind of was.
No, she wasn't playing.
No,
that
she
good.
was. No, it's later in the episode she's not playing great.
Okay.
So anyway,
she seemed like she was frustrated. Don't you think?
She was more frustrated with Harry because she wanted to leave, but now they have to stay behind because he's writing away.
Yeah.
So she wanted to leave, but she's happy that Harry is writing, and because she thinks they're under the impression that once he's done, they're going to leave.
So Doris confronts Harry about...
Yeah, Doris confronts Harry about the pill, and he says he never did that. That's baloney, and...
That's malarkey.
Yeah, that's malarkey. This is kind of where things get messy. Harry doesn't hold anything back. He point blank tells his wife they're not leaving, and that she has bailed on every other job she's had. She's no longer a teacher. She wants to do this interior designing thing, and her last interior designing thing fell through, and she chalks it up to, well, my client didn't understand monochrome.
Well, it wasn't just that too. She really kind of piped up because he said, he threw a direct insult at his daughter. He said she's playing like shit.
Okay.
And the mom did get angry.
Yeah.
Because he talked to her
gotcha.
Her daughter that way.
I thought she was playing good at this point. My bad.
No, she was playing okay, but compared to the first episode, where we have that incredible montage with the fox and her, mom's doing the drapes and everything like that.
Right.
She was playing pretty good.
Okay. All right.
And in this scene, you can clearly hear, that's what I was saying before, she's not playing great. She's carrying the tune, but she's not playing great.
Okay.
And he points that out where, initially he was praising his daughter. This time, he was very direct. He was like, you sound like trash.
Okay.
And the wife felt, the need to check him. And she did. And we really didn't get that sense of character from her in that first episode. She was more like that, she was playing the role of a mother, but she didn't really have any like agency. So I felt like this time around, okay, we're getting, she knows how to push back.
Gotcha.
All
right. So then moving on.
So, it's at this point where, we know that the little black pill is taking effect. And Harry has all this inspiration, and he ends up typing through the night all the way into the morning. And I was thinking to myself, the entire time, I was like, are they going to have a link to this pill at the end of the show? Because, like, if he's got this kind of inspiration, I mean, I'm interested. I want to know what the hell this pill is.
Really?
So,
Really?
Exactly. Really. So after that, Harry starts to kind of exhibit these, like, what I'm going to call vampire-like symptoms. There's a scene where they have, Subway or something like that, and he doesn't eat his half of the turkey sandwich.
He can't even chew it.
He won't eat that turkey club. And the food is actually, he thinks it's spoiled.
Nasty.
No, he thinks it's spoiled.
Oh, that's right.
So, like, we're getting a feeling that, okay, his taste buds have heightened. They've improved, sense of smell and all of those things. All the things that kind of fall in line with a vampire. So, and, Doris takes note of this. And she, gets at him and says, hey, I notice you're not eating. Are you on that stuff again? She thinks it's a habit. She doesn't really know.
She thinks it's speed.
Yeah, she thinks he's on, she thinks he's taking drugs. She doesn't really know the real reason why he doesn't like this food, or why he doesn't have an appetite.
Well, and why he's been writing so fast.
Yeah, so to reconcile, he says, you know what, I'm going to go to the store.
Yeah.
I'll go to the store this time. And so, pretty much like in the first episode, we see kind of a repeat, except for he has, a purpose. So once he gets out, we see the first pale person of color. And this time, neither of them bother. So there's about 4 of them. They don't bother Harry or anything like that. He literally walks up on one of them eating the remains of a squirrel.
Well, they circle around him and start sniffing him, kind of like a dog, like welcome to the pack.
Well, I mean, the way that I kind of saw it was more like interpretive dance. So they kind of do they do a number around him, start shimmying, shaking with those, ridiculous looking shoulder pack, trench coats. So this time around, once he goes to the store, even the meeting with the store owner is different. He's checking out his cart and everything, and sees that Harry is starting to load up on meat. He sees that meat. It hits all of his senses, and he's like, okay, I know what I'm having. And then that's when the store owner slides in. And the store owner, in very much, the fashion that I kind of looked at it, I kind of see him and the rest of these humans as, like, Disney cast members. And so he's tethered to his attraction. His attraction happens to be the store. And so he's tethered to this store. And at this point, he knows, he knows the bit. He knows that, eventually the muse is going to, take the drug. So, like, he knew that this creative was going to take that drug. And he's like, okay, he's exhibiting all the symptoms. So he's like, yeah, you took the drug, didn't
Everybody
you?
Ends up succumbing
you
to
got
it,
this amazing burst of creativity, didn't you? And so already he's like, okay, all right, we got another one. And that's when Sarah Paulson comes in, or
tuberculosis Karen.
Yes, she makes her entrance, and she almost is like in his face, like, ha ha ha, bitch, I know you took it. I know you took that drug. And she's almost elated. She's so excited. She's like, I knew you were going to take it.
Because everyone ends up failing.
And I told you to go out. I told you to get out of town, and you wouldn't listen. So she's already rubbing it in his face.
But Harry gets home, and he lays out all the meat in front of him, and he starts to squeeze some of the blood out of this big piece of meat, and then he drinks the blood. Then he puts a lot of other meats into the blender, blends it up, and he drinks that concoction.
Well, he doesn't just drink it; he drains.
He
drains
the
gristle he used like a cheesecloth to drain the
yeah,
blood from the meat. It was interesting experience.
Very interesting. But he knew right what to do.
Yeah,
you know, like this was like not even second nature to him. He knew exactly what he had to do.
He literally sat there and made a carafe of blood.
He did.
Yeah, Starbucks style.
So then upstairs, mother and daughter are talking.
Mm-hmm.
Alma wants to leave, but the mom doesn't know when they will or if they will.
Can I just say something? Did you feel like it was weird that in the first episode, Alma was almost like, she was that Tim Burton character. No, she wanted to stay. She wanted to stay. Yeah, she wanted to stay. Especially like, after the person she knew there was a ghost there.
And now
she's ready to go.
Yeah, she's ready.
Was that kind of sloppy? Well, that was sloppy to me.
Well, no, it might hinder on her father's happiness.
Is it her father's happiness, or was that just sloppy writing? No, I thought it was a little.
I think it might hinder on her father's happiness.
I feel like in the initial pilot, they wrote that character one way, and then in the second episode, they pulled back and realized, you know what? Maybe this is too much and this would scare a child, so we need to actually have that. She's still a child at the end of the day, even if she's been homeschooled and spent most of her life around grown-ups. She's still a child.
So at the end of the day, I think a kid ends up wanting what they're told for some reason. You know, she does live in New York. That's home to them. Yeah. Now, if you're told that, okay, you're going to go back to New York, you just might want to get back home. You know, even though you're in Provincetown, you kind of want to get back to the swing of things. So now that she's told they're going back to New York, she's kind of like, okay,
she's on board with it.
She's on board with it. Okay. And now that the parents have changed their mind, she's kind of like, well, you know, I want to get back home.
So you think almost had like a change of heart then?
Not really a change of heart, just like, you know, it's sort of like, you know, in a way, it's like, you know, okay, after she's told what they're gonna do, she's kind of like more on board with going back to the swing of things.
Okay.
You know, it's not really a change of heart. It's just like you want to get back to normal.
Well, I mean,
it's not totally a change of
heart. So are you saying like, I mean, I don't know how. I guess like she's done playing then. You know, I think so. She was like, and she was definitely fulfilling that role of the, you know, creepy child. Then all of a sudden, second episode, okay, I'm done with that. Yeah, I'm ready to go home.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Alma then asked her mom something very interesting. If this pill will help her get better at violin. And her mom's like, well, you know, there's no pill for greatness. She's trying to instill that practice makes perfect to her daughter. You know, during this, Doris is going through her fabric samples, and she asks for Alma's opinion about a color pattern, which Alma tells her they're all the same. Like every piece of fabric in this collection is the same.
And I will say,
every single one.
As a person, as an artist, that's not always the case. It may look like it, but like she was
to the naked eye, this looks all the same
I'd
shade.
say to the untrained eye.
No. It looks monochrome. Like she explained, it's monochrome. Okay. It is all the same tone.
You are right. You know, you are one of those untrained eyes.
Yeah,
I was talking about.
Okay, I don't think I'm untrained. Listeners, if you thought they all looked the same or close to the same, comment below, please.
Or comment otherwise.
Meanwhile, outside, there's a car parked in front of the inn, but they don't want to stay. They're just checking up on things. It's Sarah's car, and she is in the back seat, and in the driver's seat is Austin.
So she's being chauffeured by Austin.
Yes, she is being chauffeured in her Rolls Royce by Austin. Was it a Rolls Royce?
I don't know. It looked fancy.
It did look fancy. Yeah. If you knew what make and model that car was,
I'm not a car person.
I'm not either, but it did look like an old school fancy car. Austin gets on the
Maybe
subject.
It was Austin driving an Aston.
Oh, it could have been Austin driving an Austin.
Yeah.
Austin says they should call the pill the Muse. I wonder how they got that name.
I don't know. They've been hitting us over the head since episode 1.
Yeah, so. Something like that.
I don't know.
They're observing him through the window of the inn, and they see that Harry is steadily writing. Then they want to go get a snack. So then aside from that snack that Harry had, he is about to be cooked a meal by Doris. She is chopping up carrots and celery, and there's some raw chicken on the counter. Harry is speaking to her about, he just finished an entire series. He finished the whole thing, and he's like, wow, I really think I found my voice.
Yeah.
He mentions like other directors finding their voice, and he's like, I think I know how they do it now, and I think I'm really on this creative high.
It was so embarrassing because I could completely relate.
Okay.
I was like, I've had these creative moments and everything, and you sound like a fool saying
I mean, I think that's why, maybe a lot of creatives would understand the show. So while she's chopping some celery, Doris is saying, she really wants to leave because right now Alma's terrified. So I guess she has had a change, she's scared about being there. I think she's really drawn up with the fact that this stroke of genius is happening after he killed a guy.
Yeah.
Intruder or not.
Yeah.
That's kind of what she's thinking.
Yeah, I think it's almost like things are getting too real, and Absolutely. I have a baby on the way. Absolutely. I have a child that exists, and I'm thinking about I'm in like protection mode, and you are sitting up here willing to risk it all for creativity's sake.
Absolutely. And so she keeps chopping up the celery, and she slices her finger, and she starts bleeding, and Harry looks at her like his eyes just
like a snack
open wide, and he rushes to her, and you would think a husband would want to put pressure on it. Instead, he puts his mouth on it and starts sucking the blood out. And she's like, you're hurting me, and he pushes her away. So Harry's, he just tries to collect himself for a second, and he runs out.
I think most people would see distress. He sees opportunity.
He sees food.
Yeah.
So we find out that he goes over to Austin's house next. So he goes over there, and Austin is shooting a double barrel shotgun off of his balcony, and he's trying to kill ducks, quail, or whatever. He doesn't care. Then he explains the situation to Harry. Addiction. He's talking about like the people of Provincetown have been riddled with addiction. First it started with opioids, then heroin, and now the black pill. Nobody knows what's in it. There is a chemist that makes it, but no one knows who they are. I think even Austin doesn't know who they are. He just kind of gets the pills,
and he knows what it does.
He does know what it does, but he doesn't know what's inside of it. So people moved from opioids to this pill, and the pills only work if you have talent.
No, they work for all.
Well, they work for all, but
the results may vary.
Yeah, the results may vary, but no, he specifically says that the pills only work if you have talent.
Well, his they quote. Work effectively if you got talent.
I am quoting the episode directly. Pills only work if you have talent.
Yeah,
that is what Austin says. So if the pale people, they don't have talent. They never have, and now they never will.
And that's honestly, let me just step in for a second, because Absolutely. I think from the very first episode, I did give a prediction that said that they're vampires too.
Okay.
And so are these pale people.
Okay.
But the way that they act with like, a cognizant. They have a higher brain, whereas the other ones act with a very low brain, like almost like a very primal way. So it was always my theory. That's kind of where I, was going with it. Like, for whatever reason, they had the higher mind and still intact, whereas the other ones didn't.
Well, and I think that's back to what Austin was saying about talent.
Well, I feel
the creatives use the pill for their advantage. The pale people use it to get high.
I don't think I think that's initial. So what I'm saying is that initially maybe it was a high drug, but what we find out is that this pill ends up being a barometer. Those who are creative are at the top of the food chain. Those who are not creative are at the bottom.
Okay.
And I almost feel like this is like the writers, putting in a little subtle jab. Because let's look at the industry. Most of the creatives are sheep. I mean, not they're not sheep, but like they don't get the respect that they should.
They don't control Hollywood.
That's across the industry.
Yeah.
Creatives do not run Hollywood. They're ran by execs. They're ran by people who are devoid in a lot of cases.
Suits.
Yeah, they don't have any creativity, but they run the show.
They're the business people.
Yeah,
they're the people behind the curtain.
And a lot of the times,
you could say the creatives.
No, they're in the front.
Yeah, the creatives are more behind the curtain, I think.
Yeah, I think in a lot of cases, like you have a few creatives. We can think of a few people who are creative that are in the forefront. Those are like you could say Steven Spielberg or Denis Villeneuve, or Jordan Peele or whatnot. Those are just a few examples of like people who are very creative and kind of have made it. But the majority of people, especially when it comes to like art and a lot of writers, they don't get any exposure.
Okay.
They aren't like, household names. People don't even know who they are.
Right.
In most cases. And they're kind of like, put over there.
Okay.
Whereas like these execs and everything run Hollywood. Yeah. And I almost feel like this is kind of like a metaphor for that in a way. It's like kind of saying, in this situation, the creatives, they take this pill and it's the creative people that are the ones that end up being, the top of the food chain.
Well, and it's like Austin says, you can't just live on the pill without replacing the creative juices. Mm-hmm. Creativity isn't enough. They have some bloodlust that they have to replenish it with.
Well, it's like, I think like in the real world, like, we have creativity, and when it's draining.
Gotcha.
It's like you can have a creative urge, you can have a streak or a moment of creativity.
Gotcha.
But it calls for a lot, Like in his case, he's going and going, Harry goes all night writing. I guess he writes his entire season. Yeah. He goes from pilot to the entire first season in one night, and that type of drain on creativity or use of creativity is draining.
Yeah.
And he's gotta replenish. He's gotta what's the word I'm looking for? He's gotta feed the beast, I guess. I don't know, so he can keep going.
So I do want to point something out. Mm-hmm. After this happens, we see the fox again. The fox from the montage. Now, yes. I wanted to bring this up. Now, I'm not totally getting the reference, but it's the same fox in the same beach. Mm-hmm. I wanted to bring it up in case it becomes kind of important again. Now, this could be because the fox, that animals hunted frequently, kind of like a game. Mm-hmm. So we have the pale people who are kind of, some of them are hunting animals, some of them eat just, mm-hmm. animals. It could be that, somewhere along the line, something gets treated like a game. I don't know.
See, I don't know. I think that a fox is not, unlike a person, will probably be either hunting for food or searching for food.
Okay, that's a much better way to look at it. That's a much better way to look at it.
And I don't know why this fox is doing it, and I don't know why it's a focal point of this thing. It's just like, it's interesting, but I don't know what
it's been important for us to see at least twice.
It's trying to say something, or at least setting up something. So I wonder at since this fox is like kind of going around and digging in sand dunes, eventually what does it uncover?
Right, or it could be because the show is on a Fox network.
Maybe.
That'd be very, very meta. Very meta. Right there.
Or very direct.
I think I get one bad joke a show.
Yeah, that was it. So after that, basically, this leads into like, I guess what I would consider the night ride. And so for the next feeding, Austin and Belle, or what's her, Sarah Cunningham. They take Harry along in the back seat, almost like mother and father up front and their kids in the back, kind of like mirroring almost what happened like in the opening scene. And so he's in the back seat, and mom, she turns around and she gives him like some advice. She says, don't ever feed anyone in P-Town.
Mm-hmm.
And the new girl has, and she also says the new girl has no respect for artists. And I think the new girl is the chief of police.
Yes, it is.
Because she just arrived on the scene, and she, kind of knows what's going on. But she is definitely weary, because she was weary enough to tell Harry, come by my office the next day. Which he clearly never did. No. And so then the second piece of advice she gives him is, wear these gloves. They look like ordinary gloves to me, so I don't get the significance. But maybe, I don't know, like they're baby gloves, so he won't scratch his face. I have no clue.
Not to leave fingerprints or to get
blood.
To get blood on his hands.
Okay.
So there's no. I mean, if you eat all the blood, you're probably going to get some blood on your hands. Yeah. So that could be it too.
And since, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't even think about that.
Hey, that's that true crime aficionado in me.
It really is. So before we even get to like the outcome of this, we cut away to Mickey's Love Shack.
If that's what you want to call it.
And Mickey and CB Karen, tuberculosis Karen, are shacked up together, and she explains how she hasn't been touched by a man in 10 years.
That's a long time.
It is. And so I know, like, I guess we're supposed to, be at the point where we're thinking, okay, they're about to like get down. But instead, all I can think about is how these writers must have had some kind of fever dream. I don't know. It was like maybe they was passing peyote around or whatever.
And what do you mean by this?
Around the writer's room, because like all I can think of is like this scene looks very much like what would happen if Kevin in Home Alone 2, never went to Trump Hotel and he stayed with the bird lady and said, this to me.
So you think this is like fan fiction?
This looks like fanfic of like what would happen if that story would have went in a different direction. I don't know. It just seems that way. That was the vibe I picked up.
Wow.
So
we got a crossover.
It is. It's an extended universe, or whatever.
Well, it is a Fox property.
So exactly, and a Disney property.
Well,
AKA a Disney property.
So yeah.
Yeah. So then Mickey and Karen get to talking about Sarah Cunningham. So they're both really employed by Sarah, if you think about it.
Yeah, I think Mickey,
so
it's sort
almost
of an indirect way.
It's almost like they're talking about the boss.
I think Mickey can kind of take her or leave her, but he needs the money.
So what we find out is that they're really angry about this woman, especially Karen. She's pretty upset about some of the things that she has made them do, all in the name of creativity. We also learned that Mickey and Karen have, a little bit of artistic talent themselves.
Yeah.
Mickey, he's an aspiring playwright.
I think screenwriter.
He has screenwriter. He has tons of composition notebooks on the floor.
He's got like 5 screenplays he started.
Yeah.
He's every person that arrives in LA.
He is.
He is every person.
And Karen is every painter that arrives in LA. In a way, she has she has some talent.
She does.
She's got some talent.
Those pictures, they look pretty good.
Yeah. And she probably went to a wine and art,
she said she went to a free class at the art center.
That's right, yeah.
But they look pretty good.
Yeah, I thought she was in a wine and paint.
No, painting. We won't say
whatever
the name
they call
of it.
those things. Yeah. But she was doing something like that. And it turns out that Mickey actually bought a few of her paintings
for $5 at the thrift store.
Exactly, but they sold. They
did.
They sold.
Hey, I'm not knocking. I'm not knocking.
He also, says, I watch, PBS painting shows, which is a clear, I think those are clear Bob Ross subliminals, and
happy trees.
And the funny thing is that we get a better look at Karen, and I can't tell if her eyebrows are either penciled in or tattooed.
They are. No, they're clearly penciled on.
There's something.
Yeah, they're clearly penciled on. No, it's
she looked like an emoji.
They did a really good job of making her eyebrows. They have done a really good job of making her not look like Sarah
anything
Paulson.
like Sarah Paulson.
Like I am. It's always a.
I wonder if she shaved her eyebrows for this.
No. I think I know what happened. Like there's something that actually drag queens do. They what they will do is they will take a glue stick and they will glue they'll glue their eyebrows and they'll put makeup over that.
Okay.
So it'll make it appear that they don't have an eyebrow, and then they will pencil their eyebrows in.
And how do you know this?
I've met some drag queens in my life.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, it's an interesting life you lead.
I wouldn't say that, but no, that is an actual thing. But no, I just want to. I think it's always a compliment to an actor when you can tell them that you did not recognize them.
Yeah, I feel like Sarah Paulson in a lot of her roles, she's lost. She transforms her character. Gets lost in the roles.
But I will say this is the first thing I've seen her in where she is a stunning woman.
Yes.
I really, she really is, and she is not only unrecognizable, but she is very. I don't want to use the U word, but she ugly.
No, I mean, this is her monster moment.
Yeah,
this is her,
absolutely.
This is her,
she transforms herself, and she transforms herself in every role. But
this is her Charlize Theron moment.
Yeah, no, she is doing
she doesn't look...
Even the teeth.
Yeah, she looks unrecognizable. She completely committed. I'm all for it.
She's really good. So anyway, you were saying.
After that, Mickey, he's like, we're creatives too.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to take this pill. And, Karen's like, are you sure? You know what happens if you don't have that creativity. He's like, well, he looks around at the shack that he's in. He's like, well, it can't be any better than this. And he downs the pill. So once he does that, I'm thinking to myself, okay, do you think he's going to turn into one of those things and be like this talentless hack? Hack of a zombie / drone, or does Macaulay Culkin really have talent?
Macaulay Culkin
American
does. No.
Is American Story really trying to get meta with this scene? And is Macaulay Culkin game? Because think about it. It's a little bit dig.
No. I don't think so. No.
The thing is that we don't know.
No, I
think that
I do not think this role is
to see
in any way referring to his career or acting ability.
I think it is meta.
Macaulay Culkin has been acting not steadily. He has done maybe like 1 or 2 projects every 2 years. He didn't need to work, and I think Ryan Murphy tapped him for this, and he got really excited to do it. He probably gets to play 2 roles. And I think, I do not think...
What, you mean like mindless drone?
Excuse me?
Like, if he transforms and he turns into one of these mindless drones, I guess so.
We're going to talk about what happens to him later in the episode.
Well, we don't know.
Yes, we do.
No,
there is a glimpse of him.
We don't know we see him sitting down to write.
Right.
But we don't know if he's going to lose his cognizance.
Listen, I do not in any way, shape, or form think this is a dig at Macaulay Culkin. I think they left
it as a cliffhanger.
I don't think
it is a cliff.
I am answering your theory.
Exactly.
But I am answering your theory. Listen to me. I do not think this is a dig at Macaulay Culkin himself.
I'm not saying it's a dig,
yes,
but I'm thinking like he's probably, cool enough with himself and comfortable enough with himself to play along.
Well, he has played himself in things, but like I said, I do not think
if he's
this is
played
a dig at
himself, don't you think he might be, yeah, I'm game for it. If I turn, that definitely,
listen, I don't think this is a dig at him. I really don't. And I frankly, I'm a little insulted that you said that.
Why would you be insulted?
I don't know. Because I think Macaulay Culkin is a good actor.
I think it remains to be seen.
Ooh, hot take.
It's not a hot take. It's just that he hasn't acted in a long time.
He hasn't.
And honestly, I haven't seen him in anything this high profile.
Well, yeah,
in
exactly.
quite some time. I have seen his brother do tons of material.
To get to that,
I have not seen him do this.
I was just going to. This is one of his first big studio things since I think Richie Rich. And if I'm making,
I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
I'm just saying.
I looked it up. And I think this is one of Richie Rich was his last. Richie Rich or Page Master. One of those was
probably
like his
Page Master. I don't know.
I think Richie Rich came after, but like no, that was like his last big studio picture. He's done other independent stuff, and he has actually done a few TV shows. But
I think he does little things here and there, but this is definitely, you can't deny that this is a more high profile role than what he has done in the past.
I am agreeing with you.
So I think he's trying to, maybe he has the acting bug again. It's been quite some time, and maybe he's coming back to it as a completely. He came to it as a child, that comes with a lot of different, caveats and expectations, and so now he's a grown man with a child on the way. I don't know if he had
a baby.
Okay, so he has
his Brenda Song had a baby.
No, I got you, and I think that this time around he's approaching it and coming at it as an adult. I think that he kind of has a template to kind of work off of, which was his younger brother who's out there acting?
I believe Kieran's younger.
Yeah, so I think you see Kieran as an adult. Mm-hmm. He started out on an FX show. He started on Fargo.
He started out in Home Alone.
Who? The kid?
Kieran Culkin.
Well, I'm talking about him as an adult. Well, he's made his return. I don't know if he's done other roles, but he has been, the one that I know was on Fargo. Yeah. That's when I saw him again. I thought it was Macaulay Culkin because they look so much the same.
They do.
So I thought it was Macaulay Culkin. I was like, oh, he's coming back. He's back. But I found out it was Kieran. And then after that, he gets a bigger role or, more, substantial role on an HBO show. Yeah. And so I can see how his career path is moving in an upward trajectory. Right. And who knows, at some point he might, be in contention for an Oscar. Or Emmy.
I think he might have been nominated. I'm not sure.
I mean, so like I see that as like, okay, I feel like Macaulay Culkin's smart. He's like, all right, if my brother would go this path, then I could probably do the same thing. Well, I mean, we find Macaulay Culkin on an FX show.
But also, Paris Jackson, I think one of his good friends was on American Horror Stories. Yeah. She also could have gotten Ryan Murphy in touch with Macaulay, too.
Oh, they're good friends?
Oh, I think that Macaulay is her godfather.
Oh, really?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. They've...
So they're pretty close.
Very
He
close.
could have helped her. She could have helped him. I don't know.
I mean, I don't think Macaulay Culkin specifically needed help.
I don't think he needs help, but I think just like anybody who's been out of it for a while, you need an introduction, and you might need an easy, nice way back.
I will say, it's excited to see. I'm excited to see him and what he has to bring, especially as an adult. I have seen him do a few things as an adult, but mainly the kind of like comedic roles. Yeah. The last really good thing that I saw him in, it's High Camp, but Party Monster. I thought he did a fantastic job in that film. Mm-hmm. And what
was that about?
It's about a true crime case where he plays he actually plays a gay man who kills a lover and goes to prison for it.
Really? Yeah. Wow. Does he enjoy himself when he goes to prison, or is it about?
It doesn't talk about him in prison. Yeah. It's more about the crime and what leads up to it. He was a club kid in the 80s or 90s.
So it doesn't even touch on the prison.
It doesn't touch on the prison. No.
Okay.
No, it focuses on the crime himself and him trying to kind of get away with it.
Okay. Because I would always think I don't know.
We're not going to go that route on this podcast, people. So instead, we are going to be getting on with the show. Yeah. So now we're going to the Craigslist meet and greet. Uh-huh. Now, one of the rules is never to always meet in a public space, right?
I think so. I don't know. These are real life rules.
Yeah, I don't know if that was
about if you were gonna sell something on Craigslist, offer up and let go,
which I've done.
Would you ever meet somebody or invite somebody a stranger to your home?
The closest thing I did is I actually bought a bicycle off of one of those sites, and I would only meet them like on the sidewalk.
Yeah,
I didn't go inside the person's home.
Yeah, who in their right mind would offer or invite anybody into their home?
Well, unless it's like a buffet table or something. You might go inside a person's home.
A buffet table?
Using it as an example.
Perhaps.
Yeah. So, just saying, some specific things you might want someone in your house for. So the three of them they're just led into the house of the robber. The robber lets them right in.
Well, we don't really know that he's a robber.
They are painting a lot. There is a big clue.
Yeah.
Where he is selling a locked iPad.
Really? I completely missed that.
They said, we're here for the bicycle and the locked iPad.
Okay, I completely missed that.
Why would you be selling a locked iPad?
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised that he just went and reset it, but I guess at that point
you can't really do it.
Oh, yes, you can.
Oh, no. I didn't know this. You can reset.
Yeah, so I'm surprised he just didn't reset it.
People.
But I guess in his situation,
well,
he fits their stereotype.
I think if a person reports something stolen, it can prevent you from resetting it.
That I don't know.
I think iCloud has certain features like that. I think.
Maybe they do now.
Listeners, let us know.
Yeah, we're not a tech show.
We are not a tech show. We're
a movies and barely a TV show review only. So
Sarah slashes this robber's throat instead of getting the goods, and they all three start to feast off of this man. Mm-hmm. They are lapping the blood up.
Yeah.
And this kind of brings the irony. Like, this guy, he does look like a burnout. He's not all together. And so these, vampire-like creatures are using a designer drug, and they're
a meth head.
Yeah, they're preying on people that use other types of drugs. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, almost robbing Peter to pay Paul.
It's a weird kind of
it's a
I guess I don't know if you're meant to draw this conclusion, but they're doing bad, they're doing the exact same thing that he's doing, but instead of robbing goods or taking things, they're out here taking lives.
Absolutely.
So it's very but yet they feel like they have the high ground.
Right. So, they feel like they're above everyone else. So
I don't get it.
So they decide that they're going to send Harry to a dentist, because they want him to enjoy the food just like they do, and they want to make it easy for him. And they show him the teeth, and the teeth are, the front two just look so. They're all pointy.
Yeah, they got a row of shark teeth.
It's a row of shark. It's uncomfortable to look at. So
that's not only where the discomfort ends.
Well, it's not. I'm getting to that.
Yeah.
So he goes to this dentist, which. He meets the dentist there, but it's in a tattoo parlor. This dentist went to dentistry school to please her parents, but tattoos are her passion. Mm-hmm. So not only is she a dentist, she is also a member of this club too. Yeah. Tattoos are her art, and she even shows us her teeth. Mm-hmm. That's how she fuels herself, by being a tattoo
that
artist.
Was interesting too, that they would reiterate that it's not just for the writing creative.
Absolutely.
It's for any type of creative.
Absolutely.
And I've never seen a show that kind of zeroes in and tries to really kind of pump up and elevate the creative. Even though I know it's a horror show, but you could test out some things, and I've never really seen anything like that.
Right.
So it's really kind of taking it's like a retrospective, or once again a look at the industry, how it really is, and saying that had it if all of these bloodsuckers, I guess you could say, in the industry, who basically leech off of creativity.
Gotcha.
If it was like this in this world, they would be the ones at the bottom of the food chain, if I say that again, as opposed to some of the creatives. So it's an interesting way. I don't know. It just keeps, coming back to me.
Interesting. So now we have what I think is one of my favorite moments of this whole show. It's another violin montage. It's kind of a callback to the one we had before, but it's a little different. So Alma's struggling with a piece on her violin.
Yeah.
Now, she gets frustrated, so she goes to her father's bag, and she finds the bag.
She does some Murder, She Wrote type investigation. She starts looking around.
She snoops, and she finds the pouch of little black pills, and she takes one out, and she pops it in her mouth. And Then she goes back upstairs to her violin, and she plays it beautifully.
Yeah, she plays the hell out of that violin.
She plays the hell out of the violin. At one point, it's a cross between a fiddle and a violin.
It's doing a lot.
She's doing a lot.
Yeah.
She was playing like someone at the Philharmonic. So...
And she had her own little flash of, inspiration.
She did.
Like, she's bowing in front of an audience and everything. Mm-hmm. She felt it. She was feeling it.
That was really... And then we also, during this montage, go back to Harry in the dentist chair where his teeth are being sharpened.
Yeah.
And that, like, the sounds and the look of that, it's just, it made me uneasy. I don't know how to make
if you don't like dentists, if you have an issue with dentists, this episode, I mean, you might want to fast forward, mute it or whatnot, because you're getting all the sounds.
Yeah,
you're getting that high-pitched supersonic screw that's working on enamel and doing all sorts of things, just a feeling and everything. That was... It's uncomfortable.
It's not good.
And it's even more uncomfortable to watch. So,
yeah. And then, well, we also see Mickey during this montage. He's got his comp books in front of him, and he's writing, and he's reading what he's writing. So he's like steadily writing. He's not working as hard as Harry was when he was on the pill.
Yeah.
So inspiration is striking him. Just, I don't think it's as big of a flash as it was when Harry had it.
Well, then too, like, they were working on different devices.
They were. Harry's
on the computer, hammering on keys, and Macaulay Culkin is just there, writing.
He is, but it's still, I mean, I think it also boils down to, like, work ethic. Harry has finished screenplays before. Mm-hmm. Mickey's never finished one.
That's true.
He's written 5 of them, so he's just kind of he's you can tell he's finding delight in doing this, but it's not like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if it's hitting.
Right. So, but it is hitting.
Something's hitting.
Something's happening.
But I don't know which way this is gonna go.
So
that's where I feel like it's a cliffhanger.
Then we go to Alma, and she crashes. She crashes and she falls down. She passes out. Then, she starts playing again, and she's not playing so great. Then Doris comes up and she's like, I think you need to give it a rest. I'm getting a headache. Mm-hmm. Now, folks, I want to talk about this scene.
Yeah.
This scene is probably one of my favorites so far in the entire show.
Yeah.
I'm
surprised that Alma didn't get knocked out again.
Well, hear me out. Alma tells her mom that you don't understand how hard it is to be so great. And her mom just she plays it really well. She does. Now, she rips into her mom. I have never seen someone so eloquently talk down to their parent. Not a child. I'm talking in film. Not a child. I love the way this character is written. Mm-hmm. Ryan Kira Armstrong, I believe her name is. She is playing this part.
Yeah.
This scene killed it for me.
I bought it.
Honestly, I want to know if it's really her playing the violin. It does look like it. If not, it's very convincing. I've tried to research if she's actually doing it. I couldn't find anything. If you know in the comments, please let me know. So I just, like, she is really killing this role. Mm-hmm. And when
she said that,
oh my God, you don't understand what it's like to be so great. I'm like, oh my God, this child.
And the funny thing is like, it's a family of creatives. And what's so biting about it is that, I'm gonna just be honest. Like, interior design, not to say it doesn't take creativity.
Oh, absolutely,
but
it does.
It already makes her seem like she's fringe, because that's not what she went to school for. That is not her talent. Well, it just so happens that out of hundreds of Instagram channels or YouTube channels, they selected her.
You know what? I don't think that I mentioned it during the montage, but like during that, she is the only person in that's having an issue. She cannot. She's putting the swatches over her face and everything else. She cannot focus. She cannot.
See, I didn't even pick up on that.
She can't match them correctly at all.
So, after this heated exchange between Alma and her mother, we go to the very next day, and it kind of does really mimic what happened. In the first, the father goes out for his morning jog,
Gotcha.
But now it's inspired. It's a very different jog,
He's got a clear mind.
Yeah, he goes with a clear mind now and purpose. And so he jogs right to the docks, or I think they're called dick docks. And there's a dude waiting underneath, and he's like, "Look, I'm doing blowjobs, and if you want to, if you want more, top or bottom, what's your pleasure?" And what happens next is that Harry commits cardinal sin.
Yes, he does.
Number one.
Yes,
and
he
so
does.
Now, if you remember back to Sarah Cunningham's warning, she said, "Do not kill anyone in P-Town."
Yep.
And that's exactly what he does. So he lunges, or no, he does. He walks up to him and slits his throat and begins to feed. With his new teeth, with his new shark teeth. So he drains the guy, and we cut away to that. And so, meanwhile, at the house, the mother is, she had got really upset with her daughter, sent her out for her time out, and put her on punishment. And so, she comes back and she's looking, kind of wandering through the house and everything. She places the violin back where, because she confiscated Alma's violin and everything, because Alma was going crazy. Much the same way her father kept writing, she couldn't stop playing, and she was just very, upset with her playing. She had that one stroke of, that one spark, that one stroke of genius, and, that prodigy moment. And after that, she completely, lost it. So maybe the drug doesn't have a lasting effect on younger, they might need more to get a hit out of it.
I think it's probably because they're still learning.
Yeah, they're still growing, I guess. I don't know. There's no science to this. Then what we find out later on is, once Harry returns, is that Alma's not there. And Dora, she, says, "Where's her daughter?"
Oh, no. Yeah.
Where's her daughter? And he's like, she's out. I let her go out. We let her go out to get newspapers in New York. Yeah. And she's like, with those things out there, those crazy people, these drug addicts are out here running around all crazy. You sent her out into that? He says, "What are you so uptight about?"
Yeah, I don't want to be a helicopter
You always
parent.
Get like this when you're pregnant. She hits him he hits her with a low blow. And with that, that's all the ammunition she needs to get out there. I'm going to, you don't care. So I'm going to go find our daughter ourselves. She could be in danger. And so she takes to the streets, calling Alma's name and everything. And she finds her in the graveyard of all places. And so it comes right back to the graveyard that they were at. And this time, instead of being, encountered with, the guys are there. So there's 3 of them there. 3 of those, Nosferatu, Voldemort types there. I'm still going to stick with that.
Yeah.
They're there, but, she completely blows past them. She doesn't care. She's looking for her daughter. And where does she find her daughter? Her daughter is on her knees, devouring what looks like a gopher. Yeah. And if you do a still frame on it, it doesn't look like just any gopher.
It's like dramatic gopher, that meme that was going around
years ago. It looks like it's got the same expression on its face. It's just covered in blood.
So does she when she sees her mom.
Yeah, she does a da, da, da. She does her own thing. So I don't know. My other, so.
I was gonna ask if you had any other theories about it
before we wrap up. I guess.
Yeah, I'm kind of
because that is I'm gonna cut it right there. That's pretty much where everything ends. So I guess we're left on, like you said, theories. And do I have any theories going forward? It's gonna be a little bit out there, but I actually do have a theory going for. I kind of feel like this whole thing is a experiment. You know, there's hardly any people there. You got test subjects and everything. You have like controls. You know, so our control is the regular humans that are, you know, put in place. Okay. And you have,
that's probably why they,
you know, you have kind of like, yeah, you're unknown, which is like these vampires that are out here, and then you put, you know, a known quantity or an unknown or outside quantity into this experiment, into this laboratory. So you're bringing this family in and seeing what happens. And what's happening so far is, you know, I think that it's an experiment. You know, I feel like the whole thing is an experiment. You know, I could be completely wrong, but I do feel like, you know, above all of this are aliens, and they're just basically simply observing and recording.
So you definitely think because of the poster that you really think that the second feature that's more than likely about aliens is kind of directly related to this one?
I do, because like I think it has been done, maybe not as successfully, but like on Roanoke.
Right.
You know, we start with an actual haunting that was interesting, and then we get the reality show version of them returning to that house. Yeah. You know, and I feel like that's what this could be. But I don't know.
I'm gonna disagree with you there.
Okay.
You know, I do. All the American Horror Story things, you know, they take place in the same universe. Mm-hmm. But I'm hoping that the second story is kind of completely independent of this one.
Really?
I'm hoping. You know, that's not necessarily that I'm right.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that they just kind of split it down the middle, and they're doing two completely independent stories.
Yeah, and I don't really have a clue.
Neither do I.
But that's just a guess.
And I'm not looking too much into it.
Yeah.
But you know, that's my hope.
I can't help but to think about it. It's like after watching this, it gets my mind, get the wheels turning and stuff, and I'm like thinking to myself, okay, what are some, you know, potential theories that I have rolling in my head?
Here's my theory. Maybe we move to a different town in Cape Cod.
Another town in Cape,
yeah. And maybe that's where we meet other, you know, that's where we have the other story. Yeah. It's not directly related.
But it's adjacent.
It's adjacent, you know. So, I mean, but you know what? What are your theories? Let us know in the comments below. You know, but no spoilers for future episodes, please.
But I guess that just about wraps things up. Yeah. So we'd like to thank you if you stuck around long enough to hear us all the way through. Hopefully you got some interesting theories yourselves. And once again, you can put those theories in the chat. And so, signing off, this is... Oh, you know what? I'm getting getting
ahead of yourself there.
I am getting ahead of myself.
You need some help?
Yeah.
Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you like this. There are more videos to come. Mm-hmm. Hit that bell so you know when we release a new video.
Yeah, so you're notified.
Yep. And also, smash that like button. We'd really love to hear feedback from you down in the comments.
Oh, yeah, and don't forget to subscribe. You know, if you haven't, is this the first time hearing us?
No, it's not.
Did you say that?
I did.
Okay, yeah. All right, well, let me just reiterate. Don't forget to subscribe.
All right. Well, signing off, I am Show Squirrel.
And I am the Snark.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us today.
And this is...
Trailer Postmortem.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye-bye.